Hey everybody, it's been a while since we here at Volition have done any streams or anything, and obviously I'm sure most of you are aware why we haven't been able to stream for a bit, but people have had a lot of questions about the state of Volition on Twitter and social media and all that, so I figure we would have Jim Boone on to talk about it. Hey Jim, how you doing?
Good. How are you all doing?
I'm doing good, all things considering, but
Right.
yeah, people have had lots of questions about what Volition is doing. How are we safe? What's the progress on the game like, and all of that. So I figured, can you tell us a little bit about how Volition went tackling the whole COVID-19 situation?
Sure. Yeah. It was. Needless to say, it was a pretty unique sort of situation, and not something that we've gone through before. But I couldn't be more proud of the way that the studio responded. Both the studio, our IT department in particular, in that we were, along with the rest of the world, I think, but certainly in this country, following the news and trying to see how everything was going to move forward. And once it finally got to the point where it seemed like being able to work from home was going to be a more valid sort of approach to things,
Right.
we gave everyone the option immediately of being able to work from home. And it was crazy how things progressed from there, which is, again, just almost for the whole country, because in a very short period of time, I want to say within a week's period of time, we went from making it totally optional. Anyone that wants to work from home, they're absolutely able to, and we set them up with with access to all of their equipment. Within a week's period of time, I think it was, we went from that to, okay, everyone, you must work from home. We are closing the studio,
Right.
and we're going to have everyone work from home. So it was a very short period of time there in a short window. So to see the company respond in the way that they did, where people, some people were taking equipment home with them. Some people needed IT to prepare things for them, whether it be software or some of the hardware that they needed for home. The speed with which IT responded was amazing, and then just the mindset of everyone doing it. It was awesome. I mean, it was inspiring to see the way that people took to it. There, people weren't complaining. People weren't causing issues or anything like that. It was quite the opposite. Everyone was on board. Everyone was as helpful as possible. Everyone understood the situation. So the way that they responded to that, I couldn't be more excited or more proud of the way that everyone responded. And I'm also really proud of the studio with the way that we tried to be, ahead of the curve in terms of being able to give people that option to move home. But then when it was time, we shut the doors, and we're trying to do the responsible thing as quickly as possible. So overall, I feel like it was a very unique experience, but I think it went about as well as we could have hoped.
Yeah, it was shocking for me, like how quick everything went, and it was. I mean, obviously, any studio that has as many people as we have or more, you're going to hit problems when you're setting up so everybody can work from home, or like 99% of everybody. And even when problems were cropping up, the IT department was just knocking every problem down like super quick.
No doubt. Yeah, the IT guys are just heroes on this, because they were doing everything from hardware, where they're getting PCs set up, or they're making monitors available to when we would email what we call help desk, which most places have, trying to respond to issues that we had or anything like that. I mean, they were just on top of everything every step of the way, and it was crazy, because it was such a short period of time when we went through that. And then the cool thing about it was that they continued to keep us going. They, as we continued to get more efficient and working from home and looking at other types of software solutions that are out there, they were on top of that. They were getting us everything we needed. So it was awesome. I mean, it's can't say enough good things about the IT department. It's been fun to see a lot of the different studios in our industry and see the way that people have responded. And every single place that I've seen where they talk about it, they are saying the same things that we are, which is thank God for their IT department, just like we're saying thank God for our IT department. It's pretty special, I'd say, across the industry, to see what IT has done for all of us, and while the world has changed around us, and what they've been able to do. I think we're all very lucky we live in this kind of time frame and have those kinds of resources, across the whole industry. And at Volition, it's absolutely no different. Our IT guys are heroes.
Yeah, totally. Now, with the transition to basically everybody in the entire studio working from home, how has that affected making a video game? Because there's obviously, before there were tons of in-person meetings, and especially with Volition, with the size we are, it was still very easy to go from your office. Like if you need to talk to somebody, just go over to their office and just work it out with them right there. How has that changed with all of this?
Yeah, God, it is. It's been a lot of change in most areas, I would say, and then in other areas, it hasn't been that much change. And so, so what I mean by that is everything, all the interpersonal sort of communication that you do that you would just take for granted. Yeah. Just as you say, being able to walk down the hall, talk to someone. We're like anyone else. We communicate through email or through IM, and there's just so many different ways to communicate. But a lot of the time, we are doing a lot of in-person conversations, whether they be meetings or critiques or reviews or even just hallway conversations or anything like that. And that's all gone. It's obviously just completely gone because we're all working from home. And so we're using just like everyone else, we're using software, we use Teams, and we're constantly having our meetings there. So that's changed profoundly in the sense that let's say something as basic as we have a thing we want to review. It's time to take a look at this new thing that's been created. Mm-hmm. And the directors are going to get together to review it, let's say. Ordinarily, that would be all of us getting in a room, and then we bring something up on the screen, and we're looking at it, and we're making comments, and people are taking notes and everything like that. And to do that through Teams, through each person's home has been an adjustment. But what's interesting about it is I would say that for things like that, it's actually been positive in the sense that a lot of times in the kinds of meetings, the traditional meetings we do in a room, there will be certain people who, candidly will kind of dominate the conversation. There'll be people like me, maybe, who tends to talk a lot. And so I'll talk a lot. But now when I'm on video, I don't, I'm much more conscious of someone else talking, and maybe I won't talk as often. And, and people are all having that opportunity to be able to speak more. So in some strange ways, we're getting a little bit better. We're learning more about ourselves. I'm learning more about myself in terms of the way I talk sometimes. And so these tools are still helping us to do the job just fine. So we have those sorts of things that are happening that are adjustments that we've had to make that are definitely a very different way that we're working. But I would say that it's actually in some ways helping us. Huh. Then you have other situations where you have people like take programmers, for example. Some of our programmers, let's say that they're working on gameplay, they're going to naturally be having a lot of conversations with design in terms of the things that they need done before they go and code it up. Other programmers are generally like, here's a task, and I'm going to go chew on this thing for a week or two. Regardless of whatever that situation is, the ability for a programmer now to work from home where they can basically shut everything off and just code with no interruptions. Yeah. At work, as you all know, there might be someone that's going to stop by and talk to them, or maybe there's someone talking right next to them. They're not even talking to them, but they're still kind of being distracted from that. The efficiency of our programmers is actually, in some cases, is going up because they're home and they can turn everything else off. And so it's a weird combination of different things that are, I'd say it's overall it's very positive, but I'd say that there's adjustments in some areas, but in others there haven't been as many adjustments like with programming where they just program and move forward. So it's really mixed depending, I'd say, on what you do on what your job is as to how different it is.
Yeah. So along those lines, has there been any specific disciplines that, just due to the nature of their work, not being in the office is actually making it harder for them?
Yeah, for sure. And I would say, and it's funny, and maybe it's just top of mind because of what I do, I would say production, so that's our producers and our project managers. So much of what we do for a living is to go around, work with the team, talk with people, coordinate, talk about dependencies, make sure that communication is flowing across the board. And a lot of that requires us, well, at least traditionally, have required us to get up out of your chair, go talk to people, go talk to your team, go talk to other teams, make sure that kind of communication is flowing. And of course, that's not happening now. Like there is no group that you can go just talk to. So all of our communication now has to be done through video or through the traditional things like email and whatnot. And so that's a major adjustment. I think it's a major adjustment for all of us. And like even speaking for myself, like I've never ever worked remotely or worked from home in my career. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've never done this before. I'm one of those where I need to be at work. So at first it was like, is this going to work? But it does. Like it actually does work. You can do these things. And just like any number of other people in the industry who do work remotely, would certainly have told me beforehand. So, but that I think is probably the production team. And like I say, it might be biased because it's what I'm a part of. I think that they're the ones who are the most affected by far with doing this, because it's just so different in terms of the way that we interact with the team now versus the way we might traditionally have done it in the past.
Okay. Another thing that I've noticed is very strange to do these days is our big studio-wide team meetings. That's been a really interesting change.
Absolutely, yeah. It's, as you're pointing out, that's something where we have a large-sized team, and we would try to cram everyone into this large conference room we have at our office, and then we talk about what are the latest things, what are the dates for our milestones, or what's some important information you want to convey on the project, or basic updates. And then we always end where we shift into show and tell, where people are able to show some of the latest stuff that they've been working on, which is always very inspiring. And to your point, we obviously aren't getting large, giant groups of people in a room now while we're doing our team meetings. And so what we do now is we try to cover virtually the same type of content. We just do it, each of us recording our own session beforehand, that then goes to a particular person who then takes all these different recordings, puts it together into one giant video, and then we still have the same time for our team meeting that we conduct it. And we just tell everyone, like, go ahead and press play at the same time. No one does it at the same time, but they get at least close enough to it, And then everyone hits play at the same time, and then we watch the team meeting. And then off to the side in our chat forum, we just kind of chat questions and comments back and forth. And so it's our way of trying to do kind of a traditional sort of thing with our team meeting, but doing it in a completely different way.
Yeah. It's actually been kind of cool having like the actual just chat room along with the meeting, because I feel like there's actually been more discussion, because you could just talk in the middle like, oh man, this thing looks so great. And like that's actually been kind of cool to be able to do that.
I totally agree. I've been enjoying that aspect as well, because you're exactly right. In the middle of a meeting, obviously you're not doing that. You're being polite and maybe when someone is done with their presentation, you ask some questions, but otherwise you're not talking. And you're right, the chat allows us to do that. So that's pretty fun, and it's fun to see the chatting that comes, because we're a Volition. Half of it is very serious and they're asking a legitimate question. Half of it is insane, crazy, silly stuff that we're asking and joking around about, and so it makes it entertaining just to see the chat, never mind the team meeting itself. So you're right, that part is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, speaking about the team meetings and the milestones and stuff, generally with each milestone, there's I suppose like a report at the end of how many things we were able to complete of our goals for our milestones. Yeah. With working from home, how has that been affected?
Yeah, it's been, so we still do that same sort of process at the end of our milestones. It's a very traditional sort of development process. And so far it's been going really well. It's we were very anxious to see just how would working from home affect things, and would it be a case where we look at this milestone and see that maybe it's been altered in a way, maybe we're less efficient or something like that based on working from home.
Right.
And that hasn't been the case so far. And that's not to say that everyone is totally unaffected and everything is just fine and nothing has changed. It's just that it has not really manifested in what we're seeing in terms of the game itself. Like all the exciting things that everyone is able to do when we were working at the office, we're still seeing it right now. So when it was time to look at those the milestone and to see the things that everyone had done, we were seeing the same types of work. It was the same amount of work. It if you were to just look at that, it didn't look like we had gone through this crazy, kind of life-altering sort of experience of working from home. So the team it's just remained focused and committed and gotten everything done. And so it's super inspiring, because it's exactly what you'd kind of hope for, but you almost don't dare to count on it, because going through a lot. And so far it's been great, and that's not to say that we won't be affected in certain areas. One area, for example, along with most other developers in the industry, things like motion capture, where you've got to go to a facility and get people suited up and working together, and
right.
that's not something that we can really do right now. We just so happen to be at a point in the project where we didn't need to do motion capture, in the past couple months, and so we've been lucky from that standpoint. But so there'll come a time where that sort of thing would affect what we're doing. But it's so far it's been going really well, and it's been surprising to me that it's gone as smoothly as it has. But I think it's a testament to some of the stuff we were talking about earlier, where, like with people like IT getting it set up in the right way. Mm-hmm. But it's also a big testament to the team itself, who's really stayed committed to this and really stayed focused, and it's been awesome. It's been a lot of fun to see, and it's been inspiring.
And if I remember correctly, because we started working from home very early March. We were in the middle, like that whole transition to working from home. We were in the middle of a milestone at that point. Weren't we?
Yep. That's exactly right. We were indeed.
And even then, when we had to spend a week or maybe 2 weeks to iron everything out, we still got a good amount of work done for that milestone, didn't we?
That's exactly right.
Which is crazy.
That one was a little more impacted just because of just exactly as you say. I mean,
totally.
Then just getting some things set up, it was going to take a little bit of time, but we're not talking much, and it was the kind of, it was absorbable in terms of, our approach to it. Yeah, it was having that happen in the middle of a milestone was definitely a different sort of experience, I would say, but it was impressive, and then the milestone after that was, we were in good shape. So it's been really interesting. It's been interesting to have it as a measurable sort of thing with our milestone, to kind of see from just kind of a, maybe not as interesting to gamers, right? A more clinical way of looking at how we develop.
Yeah.
But to look at that and see how it worked out, it's been awesome to see that it was not hugely impactful. So that's it's really satisfying to see.
Yeah, totally. So I guess with that, how are even you are having to work from home? How are you dealing with that? How are you filling up all that extra free time, not having to commute like 10 minutes or whatever?
Yeah, it's been cool. It's been interesting for me, at least from a personal standpoint, in the sense that it's been like a lot of people that I've been reading about. It's sometimes harder to separate your when is it time for you to be at home versus at work, considering I'm in the same place. Like where I'm sitting right now is where I game half the time as well. And so, it's even just from a mental standpoint, it's a little weird to be, okay, now I'm just going to change my mindset to being gamer now. Right. And so it's been an interesting adjustment from that standpoint, I would say. But overall, it's been going well. And I think the thing that helps me a lot of times is that, I am a gamer. So it makes it easier in the sense that when I start playing some other game, now I am truly off work, and so I'm not staring at my email at that point, and so that's okay. So like for example, I've been playing the hell out of Doom.
Oh, nice.
And so once I'm in that and I'm killing demons, I'm not really thinking about email or anything like that. So I don't get distracted. I can't be distracted, otherwise I'm dead, because I'm not amazingly good at that game. So. But that helps me, I think, to just be able to play something and then just, now I'm done for today. I allow myself to play a game, and now I'm done.
Yeah.
And so that's been the biggest adjustment, I would say, for me by far. It's just the fact that, I am both in my office and I'm at home where I play games and watch TV and stuff like that. So it's been weird.
Do we have any plans or anything for right now for when people will be coming back into the office?
Yeah, we actually do. It's actually interesting timing to talk about that. We're in Illinois, and the state of Illinois has gotten to a point where, with our portion of Illinois, because they kind of have it chopped up into sections in terms of the way that they're recommending that people start to return. Right. We're at the point where we can start to return some people. So we're going to stay super cautious. And what we're doing is, starting June 1st, we're allowing some people who have asked to be able to come back to work. These are people who, some people maybe don't have the best internet connection, or some people have some larger issues with trying to separate that work-life balance between home and being at work. So there's a few people. I think it's around 17 people right now that as of June 1st will be coming back to the office. And just to begin, just to start really slow, totally optional. By far and away, the majority of the company will not be coming back at that point. But at least let some people who really feel like they want to and will benefit from coming back to the office, allow them to start to come back, and then just see how that goes. See how things go with our country, with our state in particular, and how things go with the virus, and measure it and be really smart about it. But at least be able to start off with that very small group. And then that small group, that allows us to keep them very distant from each other. These aren't people that are all going to be in one room or something like that. They're going to be able to stay very spread apart so that it'll still remain very safe for them. And then we get to see how that goes and help them, let them benefit from it, and but also try to stay very safe from doing it in that way.
Totally, because it's for me, seeing how other places have responded. I've been very happy that Volition was a place that extremely cares about the safety of everybody. It's not just getting a game out. It's we want these people to be safe.
No doubt, right? I mean, it's just priority number one, and there's just no doubt about it. And it's the same as, I'm really proud of the whole industry and the way that everyone has responded with this. I mean, you're not reading any stories, about, I don't know, evil developers doing evil practice or something like that.
Right.
It makes me happy that I'm in the kind of industry that cares about its people and the way that they are. And you're right. I mean, that's where we're at from a Volition standpoint, that we care about it. When we saw that it was time, we shut it down. And I like the fact that we're not just saying that, okay, hey, it looks like we can come back to work. Yep. So everyone, let's get back to work. Like that's not the approach at all. It's we're trying to do this as carefully and safe as possible for exactly the reasons you're saying. Is safety is just critically important to us. So, it's we're a company and we're a business, but we're lucky enough and fortunate enough to work in a way that allows all of us to work from home. And but now that we're at this point where we can start to come back, then great, let's take advantage of that for those who feel like they'll benefit from it. But there's no need to rush anything, and we don't intend to. We're gonna do this really safe and very carefully, and do it very just a little bit at a time to see how it goes.
All right, cool. Jim, thanks for being with me and helping address all these questions we've been getting on social media and all that. Do you have any parting words for everybody before we go?
Yeah, I think really the last thing is just thanks to everyone for all the well wishes and for the questions of how we're doing and how things are going for us and how we're getting through this. It means a lot to all of us, I think, to see that kind of response from all of our fans. And we do a lot of this stuff because we like to be able to give back and we like to be able to entertain. And so it's especially in times like this, I feel like I certainly like to be entertained and so that's what we're doing, and we're working hard on our game, which we can't wait to talk about one of these days. But so in the meantime, it's just been fun to be able to see a lot of the well wishes from the community, and it means a lot. And so thanks to everyone for that. And that's really a big thing I think I wanted to get out there, is we really appreciate that kind of response from everyone. It means a lot.
Yeah, for sure. But thanks for being on, Jim. And once again, I actually forgot to say my name at the start. I'm Josh Stinson, the video editor here at Volition. There will have been I'll put in a name graphic at the start anyways. So, but yeah, thanks again, everybody. I'm Josh, and that was Jim, and we will see you later.
Thanks, everyone.